Happy Thursday, and welcome to another conversation with Samantha Gregory, the self-care alchemist, and me, Olivia Denon Thomas, the brand counselor, helping you to become a regulated founder. Woo woo.
Absolutely.
Um, so we're excited about this conversation because it's like I don't want to say it's anti-establishment,
hmm
but
hmm
it is kind of against what is normally said is like great practice for being a good business owner. So softening systems. I think a lot of times when we think about systems, what comes to mind for you?
Oh, this really structured. Let's have everything just so organized, almost rigid, and just whatever tool. Because me being a tools and systems person, you have the right tools in place. You may have three or four tools, and you may have them all lumped together so
Yeah,
that they into a workflow. So.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That feels right to me. I mean, I think a lot of the time system kind of evokes two things for me. It's like the idea of the actual tool that you're using, but
Mhm.
also just kind of the recognized understanding of like what is right and acceptable within like a culture of a thing.
Yes.
Um, so it's it's interesting. So one of the traditional things, especially you're a tech girl, right? So
Mhm.
it's like ship it.
Yes.
It kind of relies on aggressive timelines and constant output, um, and artificial urgency. And
Mhm.
I want to be specific when I say artificial urgency and not just urgency. I think urgency has a place,
Yeah.
but the constant creation of urgency, it shakes the system. So from a nervous system perspective,
Mhm.
um, what happens to a high achieving founder's body when the daily operations kind of demands that fight or flight?
Ooh, it tightens up. It braces for the next crisis.
Hmm.
It feels like I don't know, tightness in your chest. It could feel like a headache, that constant tension headache you have. It
Yeah.
could feel like the furrowed brow and um, holding your hips tight, and for especially for women, it's like you start walking like a robot kind of, and you just not loose. Your limbs are not loose. You're just, your shoulders are up to here, and your digestive system gets screwed up as well. Bubble guts or whatever the thing is that the nervous system begins to scream loudly, and we ignore it a lot too often. And it's like, yeah, ma'am, can you just pay attention, please? You know, we're screaming, we're talking to you, lady. Come on.
Listen to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that's and it's funny because I think sometimes we romanticize those feelings. It's like, when you're pushing through, when you're kind of like fighting the big dragon, um, people almost say like that's how you're supposed to feel.
Right.
Um, and it's just yeah.
It feels like accomplishment. It feels like no pain, no gain mindset,
Mhm.
which I absolutely hate. I hate that phrasing, but because it reminds me of being in a gym
Mhm.
and you pushing yourself to the limit where you're literally ripping and tearing the tissues in your muscles so that you can um, gain this bulk,
Mhm.
this and feel like you're the biggest person in the room or among the people, your peers. So it's like that constant pushing. And, this is very male centric, bro coded, very, and we're going to talk about that, I know for sure. But it's like, can we not? Because I'm not going to hurt myself in the process of trying to build muscle or build this thing. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to end up hurting sore for days or sick for years because I've been pushing myself so hard.
I love that you said it's bro coded, and I also love that you likened it to being in the gym and
Mhm.
lifting and like wanting to feel like the biggest person in the room.
Right.
It's like the pain creates it almost creates purpose, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
there's this idea that somebody was saying this on threads today. where it's like, why do I feel like I haven't achieved anything if it's given to me with ease? And she was like, I really want the psychological reason for that. Um, and like the reasons that kind of like went through the line were, you know, the normal reasons where it's like, well, that's a parental wound
Mm-hmm.
where you were taught that love required pain,
Right.
safety required pain.
Mm-hmm.
So now you put yourself in positions where having the most pain makes this idea in your mind that I'm the most safe, I'm the biggest, I'm the least vulnerable to anything that's going on. And I think that is a big part of bro culture, just
Mm-hmm.
like the push against vulnerability. And like I do want to talk about that. So like let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on it?
As far as that push or the vulnerability
Let's
piece.
say both.
Sure. So I think that a lot of it has to do with
Mm,
proving yourself,
yeah.
because paying your dues, proving yourself. And once you've paid your dues, you get in the space of, okay, now I've accomplished these things, and now I can, move to the next level, whether it's in promotion or your business, moves into from 5 to 6 figures or move from 6 to 7 figures. And so it's always this new goal. And there's nothing wrong with new goals and nothing wrong with expansion. I think it's just how do we um, encapsulate it? Is it going to be encapsulated in pain, or
Yeah.
is it going to be encapsulated in this is the ease and flow state that I can be in, because that's the most delicious state to be in, is to be in the ease and flow when life is just going, well, when you are in a state of calm versus rigid. Let's see how far I can push myself, and let's see how far I can go in the least amount of time with this fake urgency that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And then the other side about the vulnerability piece is, if I'm in a very male centric arena, business
Mhm.
is considered male centric, tech is considered male centric, even medicine or whatever these high regulatory spaces, you as a woman, as a female founder, as a businesswoman, it's it's almost like you're not given permission to be vulnerable, because that's looks like weakness, and
Mm,
we don't want to look weak in front of all the boys, because then they're going to say something, they're going to overlook you, they're going to hold back, they're going to make life hell for you. And so I must, guard myself, guard my emotions, and not appear vulnerable, because with a soft belly is the one that gets ripped apart, right? So we are constantly in this do or die kind of situation,
yeah.
and vulnerability has no place in that, or at least that's what we've been told. But you have this goes back to like last week, talking about your policies and procedures and deciding what your life is going to look like, your business life, your work life, your personal professional life, what is going to look like and what works for me. And knowing the rules and being able to bend those rules, I think, is also an important thing to pay attention to, because people will only treat you or do to you what you allow them to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That is true. That
yeah.
is true. And I think we don't necessarily, I think one of the things that men tend to have is like siloed places for themselves.
Hmm.
Like you can kind of go, you can be at work and just be at work.
Right.
Whereas as a woman, as a female founder, no matter where you are, you're kind of operating in like 5 or 6 different roles. So
Hmm.
it's very hard to do the context shift and
Yes.
then say like, oh well, I'm not the mom right now, but you
Hmm.
know that you're the first call, like
Right.
for your kid's school, or if
Hmm.
your parents have an accident, it's going to be you. It's
Hmm.
not likely to be, you know, your male counterparts, be it, you know, husband, brother, friends.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
it's going to be you. So like there kind
Hmm.
of is no space for I'm not going to say there is no space. I'm going to
Very
say
little.
there is very little space
Yeah.
for that context shift. And I guess the question is then like how do you then how do you then create that, right?
Mhm.
Because one thing that I've personally been working on is making sure that I have levels of communication in certain places
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I have systems to back me up in those places. Like I don't have to be like overflowingly emotional. I've previously been overflowingly emotional in places where it didn't require it,
Sure.
because I didn't have anywhere else
Mhm.
to be overly emotional. So then I kind of had to set up systems where it's like, all right, like this is the friend I talk to about this. This is what I'm going to talk to my therapist about this. This one's for God. Like, we're just not bringing it to the table.
Right.
Like, and I mean, how would you suggest a woman set up a founder set up, because this isn't really just a woman issue. Some men like feel this too. Like, how do you feel that they should like set up those systems of like layered vulnerability so that they can bring the right person to the table when they need to be at the table?
Mm. That's a great question. I In my mind, the way to start is on paper. Like,
Mm,
where do you want to be? What is the vision for how you want your professional life to look, your business to look? Um, because we can get caught up in all the books that we read, all the recommended, readings that we have, all the people who are gurus. We look at those videos, we watch the videos, we read the books, we whether if you're in business school or college or wherever you getting your training from, you
mm,
have been told that this is the standard that you should be operating from because this is a best practice. And I think that best practice is where people start to have issues. You run into issues with best practices. And that doesn't mean that you don't need them. It just means you got to pick and choose the ones that are right for you in your business.
mm.
So if 12-hour days are the practice, you got to decide, is that going to work for me? I think not. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And the only way I would see you doing that is if you are working, you have a client project that, for whatever unforeseen reasons, there have been some delays and there's a deadline approaching. You want to reach that deadline and you're going to pull a one-time all-nighter.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's not a standard practice for everyday behavior. You have to decide what that looks like. Am I going to work 4 hours a day? Am I going to work 8 hours a day? Am I going to have built-in breaks? Am I going to take a vacation every couple of months? Am I going to be totally off grid? What does that look like for
Yeah.
me? And then being able to, I use, I went and trained as a Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People facilitator.
Okay.
And of course, you learn everything that you're going to be teaching everyone else. One of the things is the big rocks, small rocks, and the pebbles. And placing those big rocks in place first, and the big rocks have to be your
Mm,
personal life, the things that matter, the people that matter first, and then the pebbles are the tasks that are you need to have in your business that keeps your business operational, keeps the revenue flowing, etc. And then the pebbles are those little things that pop up every day, emergencies, quote unquote. So in keeping that picture in mind, the big things go on your calendar first. You block that off so that you're not scrambling and acting like those important things are the pebbles. They're not
yeah.
the pebbles, they are the rocks. And so that's you're documenting what it is, how you want your life to look. You're looking at the people in your life and the things that matter to you most, and you're blocking those off on your calendar. And then you are creating a standards and policies that work for you and your business. So I think, and then with those people and the things that are important, that's where your vulnerability can lie,
Mm,
can be encased. So you have the time and the space to be soft, to be vulnerable, to be able to emote if you need to, if something is stressing you out. You got an hour break, you already know that. Use that time there, you know. Um, and just be very intentional. about how you want your days to look, your business to look, your relationships to look, so that you are not being pulled by every best practice that comes out, because it changes. I think almost yearly there's a new best practice, a new way you should be doing things, a new way, a new modality or framework or infrastructure that you should be adopting. But you have to ask yourself, yeah, I'm tired. I don't want to do that. You got to be honest with yourself and think about the people who you feel pressured to keep up with those things that are in your life or your circle, and ask yourself, do I really want these people to be stressing me out like this, expecting me to be adhering to all these frameworks and best practices and reading the latest books and implementing them in my business? I will drive myself crazy if I do that. And they are literally driving me crazy. So they got to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the hustle of it all, right?
Absolutely.
Like we're hustling for approval at
Hmm.
the end of the day. Like when we're not allowing ourselves to prioritize the big rocks
Right.
and we're letting the smaller things. I mean, this is actually a conversation I had today, right? Like
Hmm.
you have to be able to prioritize like which things are your big rocks, which things are your medium, and which things are your small rocks. And when you let those small ones like fill the jar before
Hmm.
anything else, there's really just no room for anything else.
Yeah.
And small things are so small, so you really are just like disintegrated,
Yes.
like at the end of the day when you're only following those things. And
Hmm.
again, this is a very timely conversation for me. Like
Hmm.
I'm developing my own systems for what's important now. And like I say, like I'm always going from hustling to wholeness. And I am
Hmm.
always just like I'm always taken aback at the areas of hustle that are in my life that I have to like uncover and address
Hmm.
and create new softer systems for.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
And
it's
I think
crazy.
it's I think it's very layered, because once you address like the big things and you kind of settle down, allow gotten life to settle down in those areas, it opens up room, and because this is all a part of expansion, where it opens room for you to see the things that you like were not aware of, and it's like, huh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a problem or a thing or something that is kind of annoying me. I didn't really
Yeah.
realize that, because it was layered under all the big things, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is just part of personal development.
Yeah.
As you, it, you know, as you become aware, and then you process, and then you release things, it makes room for the other things to bubble up to the surface. And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything is wrong. It just means that it's just time for it to come up and for you to be aware, to process and release. And
Yeah.
then life can be fabulous after that.
I love a fabulous life, man. Like
Absolutely.
I just and kind of thinking about it from the brand perspective. I think so often we're thinking about the aggressiveness and we're fracturing along the way.
Hmm.
Um because we want to go for the speed. We want to get all the little things done, but the more we look for the little things to get done, like we're destroying the brand's integrity,
Right.
right? Because if you're going to jump and move and shift as soon as like the market says so, then like who are you?
Hmm.
Like if you're only moving outside of alignment, if you're moving quickly when something else says like, "Oh, I might change my mind about you." Like
Hmm.
it really does pull away from this idea of like, well, like you become more solid when you're more aligned.
Absolutely. You
Yeah,
absolutely do.
yeah, you do. Man, this is a day for me. Like, and then you become a flustered hustler. Like you just like
Yeah.
that really just is the move if you are
Hmm.
not moving with that integrity. And at the end of the day, it costs you money.
A lot.
It
Yes.
costs you a lot of money because if you're constantly shifting, I was doing a Facebook ad for a client the other day, and I noticed like something could shift, like something
Hmm.
could
Hmm.
shift. And I'm like, man, if I change it now, is it going to benefit me more than it's going to cost me? Because if I
Mm.
change it, I'm gonna have to essentially restart the ad
Right. Oh,
where where it's now trying to like relearn the audience and whatever process I'd already done, it's like,
Mhm.
it's all gone, right?
Mhm.
So like in that moment, it was just very tangible that like I can't just jump for the minutia.
Yeah.
Like I have to stay the course and continue gathering information to see what the next important thing is, and not just
Mhm.
the urgent thing, Eisenhower matrix, right? Like,
Mhm.
is it important or is it urgent? And
Mhm.
man, yeah, it's crazy how those things can really either lead to like solid execution or sloppy execution.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
And I
Yeah,
think that's why it's so important to have those your personal standards in place, your big rocks already mapped out, your medium rocks already mapped out, so
mhm,
that the small pebble moments or the small rock moments don't consume you because you have other things on coming up on deck that needs to be executed on or
yeah,
delegated depending on where you are so that the distraction, because I think it's really about managing distractions at that point
yeah,
and the noise that happens around you, and it's just like, okay, this is becoming a problem. Let me go back and recalibrate. Let me think it through. Let me look at my calendar and kind of see where have I been spending all my time
yeah,
and make those adjustments and without judgment. I think
yeah,
that's even a important thing to factor in is don't judge yourself because you got a little sidetracked one day.
yeah,
Now this is multiple days, then you might say, I'm judging you, ma'am. Like, we're not, you have to do something a little different because you're not actually accomplishing what you're wanting to accomplish. If it
mm,
does, somebody say, if it's not revenue generating, it should not really be the priority for at least the most optimal time of your day.
yeah,
So we have morning people, we have afternoon people, evening people. So wherever your highest energy is, that's where your highest energy should go for
yeah,
your revenue generating activities.
yeah, yeah. That's actually another conversation I had to have the other day where, like, for me, the important thing had to happen in the evening,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the time that I had enough space to actually like think,
Mm-hmm.
process, like, what I actually needed to get done, and set it up in a way where I'm not frazzled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it going to stay that way? I really don't know.
Yeah.
But in that moment, that was just how I had to work it out,
Yeah.
where the thing I needed to do that was going to be like the important foundational thing, it
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be the first thing because everything else was in between other things. Now, there was a conversation around like prioritization, like maybe I could have canceled some things and
Mm-hmm.
said like, okay, shift the schedule.
Right.
Um, but man, it's interesting to kind of like learn as we do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, just uncovering all the new things, the new issues that come up as like you create peace on one level, and then it's just like, man, here's a little bit more chaos for you to deal with.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But even the idea of peace is funny because like, how do you build a tolerance for peace? I think I think sometimes the hustle, the chaos is like really comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though we're like, oh, I don't want this, like this is terrible. And like in reality, like it's doing something to us and we're getting sick all the time and
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but we're used to it.
Yeah.
So how do you get your body accustomed to not like hustling for the validation and just like really having a tolerance for peace?
I love that question because I'm all about peace right now. Just, I mean, for now, from now on, building a tolerance for peace requires you to release the chaotic energy
Mm,
and the sources of the chaotic energy in your life. And that doesn't mean that you just dump everything out the window and just walk away. But if you can do that, but
Yeah.
For people who can't do that, you began to reduce the amount of time that you are in this chaotic state.
Hmm.
You start your day requiring peace. Um, I would talk to a group of women, before, and when I talk to groups, I'm always telling them to be sure to command your morning. Take control of your mornings because that's where your peace is cemented. That is where you can establish the peace and make the day peaceful. Because somebody was saying that like the first 7 minutes of your morning when you first wake up is where your power is to decide,
Hmm.
determine whether or not it's going to be a great day or a peaceful day. If it's going to be chaotic, it's going to be a drudgery. Oh my God, it's another Monday, and then that's a reality for a lot of people. But you have to begin the day saying, you know what, it's going to be a great day. I'm
Yeah.
calling in peace for today. And throughout the day, you just call it back in when it seems like it's about to fly out the window because some chaotic thing happened, some crisis happened or whatever. But the things that cause this chaos and crisis on a regular basis are those things you want to kind of sit back and look at and say, how can this be done differently? What's the approach? What's my mindset shift I need to make
Yeah.
so that I'm not coming from a very crisis oriented or chaos oriented point of view, where it's not always the hustle and grind that I'm looking at, where it's not always oh, this has to be rushed. But can I just breathe for a minute?
Yeah.
Even with that chaotic feeling thing, can I just take a breath before we even start this? Whether it's a meeting that you have to have, a regular meeting that you have, whether it's a place you have to go, a commute, or whatever it is, can you just breathe and be intentional and present? Because I think when we leave our bodies, in a sense, because we're thinking about this thing and it's really upsetting us, we can't be present in the moment, and we can't allow the peace to come in because we're so resistant to the chaos and crisis that we were expecting. And here's the thing, you really get what you expect.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
expecting chaos and crisis and the upheaval, and you think, well, this is my life, well, that's what you're going to get in your life. you we are powerful people, and our words and our thoughts are very powerful, and we have to manage it better. We have to be more intentional and decisive
Yeah.
about calling in, retaining, recalibrating, resetting. I do a reset. Like when I after a meeting like this meeting, I do a reset.
Yeah.
Okay, now my mind is shifting to a different either activity, or it's a decompression time. We have to build in those times for ourselves in our schedules every day,
Yeah.
and allow more and more time for that, and smaller amounts of time for that chaotic crisis event that happens.
Yeah. I I love that. I think you said something really important about setting your intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you start your day with your intentions and your expectations, right?
Yeah.
And whatever you expect, you will receive,
Mm-hmm.
because you're looking for it, right? Like
Yes.
your brain is literally looking for the shortcut that
Mm-hmm.
says I'm right, because your
Mm-hmm.
brain loves to be right. It's a prediction machine.
Yes.
So it's like it's kind of a question of like governance,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're sitting there and you have like a governance plan for your business, it's saying who has the decision rights for this moment.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like if you're thinking about peace in a functional sense, like when I think about peace, I think it's a result of like function.
Mm-hmm.
Um it kind of makes me think like, well, all right, if I want to set up tolerance for that, if I want to set up systems for that, that means I have to already know who is responsible for what decisions, and then kind
Right.
of like allow them to be responsible
Mm-hmm.
for those decisions, um, so that I can expect good.
Yes.
Like I can expect good because the system is already like set up in a way where I don't have to hold everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
the responsible party is in charge of it. And if they need support or if they drop the ball, like, fine. But at least it's set up in a way where the things can move without me having to be a part of it all the time. And then that becomes my expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And then that becomes my practice. My practice is allowing for that to happen,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to kind of being like, oh, I have to have my hands in every single part of this business.
Right.
I have to touch it all. I have to bottleneck it, right? Like I have
Mm-hmm.
to be the one that has like, and it's important to cast the vision,
Yes.
right? Like it's extremely important to cast the vision and create the governance.
Mm-hmm.
But having to be the touch point for everything that like goes out is what is going to bottleneck you as an individual. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
if in review it's like, we can or should do this differently or better. Yeah, for sure. Like I think that's extremely important. Um, and but that's part of the process.
Right.
Like, and I think it's important to allow things to be part of the process,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is the scary part because again, the brain being the prediction machine that it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no, I don't want the process, I want the results. Like, stop playing with me. So I love everything you said, like just the practice of like coming into the day with a different expectation of like, well, this is the plan, this is the vision, this is
Mm-hmm.
the expectation. Let's move in it personally. And then, like, the way I'm seeing it on the business side, the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you have to move in it. You have to allow the person to chill
Mm-hmm.
so you
Mm-hmm.
can see if this is working or not. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's really just a part of the process.
Yeah. And I did years ago, I didn't really understand why I had a couple of people, mentors or managers who would say, at the end of the day, clean your desk,
Mm,
clean the space,
okay.
put everything in where it belongs. So the next day you come in, it's like you're not dealing with the chaos of the previous day.
Mm, yeah.
So you are now giving yourself the chance and the space to start fresh, like literally start fresh. And instead of picking up from the problems from the day before.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, one of the things that we can do or consider doing for ourselves, so that, and I think it's about, what will my future self want? Will my future self appreciate this? When I wash the dishes at night, because I used to hate, I mean, I'm like, if it don't get it done, it don't get done, it'll be there in the morning. But now it's like I will wash my dishes, and when I come in and I clean, I stand at a dirty counter or in a dirty stove, because I can't cook with the thought I got to clean first, and
Yeah.
it bugs me. So now I do myself a favor and I
Mm,
go ahead and I wash my dishes. I make sure the kitchen is clean or whatever. But I also created the peace and the bandwidth in my life by releasing all those things that were no longer serving me, that were causing problems, the things that were flooding my brain. Because at the time I was like a single mom, I was dealing with all the things,
yeah.
um, work and school and business and kids and siblings and parents and all the things, and I was so overloaded
Yeah.
that I just did not have the energy or the mental bandwidth to be able to do the basic stuff
Yeah.
that would have made my life 10 times better. But now
Yeah.
that I've offloaded so much of that stuff and delegated and deleted it from my life, I now have the bandwidth. And that, so I became aware that this is a problem. I processed it and I released those things, and I continue to do that. So now it doesn't feel like a burden to
Mhm.
just do the simple thing of washing my dishes at night before I go to bed, because
Yeah.
I know my future self will be so happy in the morning. I get up and cook my little breakfast. It's nice. The day has a fresh start, a clean slate. And just like we
Mm,
do for our desk, for our bedroom, whatever area of your life feels chaotic,
yeah.
you'll be able to do that. But you must relieve the pressure valve first. You must begin to offload some things that is not serving you.
Mm,
The mental, the emotional, the physical things, even, you must let those things go. It's like baggage you've been carrying, like a rucksack with 100 pounds of stuff. And it's just like, oh,
yeah.
it's not even yours, man. What are you doing? Throw it out. You know? That I think the offloading process, it takes some time. It really does, but it's worth it once you can get through it.
I yeah, yeah. I'm really big on alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have found earlier this year is that sometimes things align, but it's not within what you should be containing at the
Yes.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm really big on containment.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in your imagery of the rucksack, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have 100 pounds of stuff, and like more stuff is coming in, and you really don't have the capacity for it.
Absolutely not.
How are you going to hold it? It can't fit. And it's like you have the capability. Obviously, the job of the bag is to be the bag,
Sure.
but it physically like
Mm-hmm.
cannot actually hold the things, and eventually it does tear. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
burnout happens, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
like, how do you help a founder? How do you help a person to recognize and respect their true capacity? I'm just like I've recognized it,
Yeah.
and I'm just starting to respect my
Mm-hmm.
true capacity. And in some places the capacity is increasing, and like the shifts in whatever's needed for the moment. But how do you help someone to recognize and respect what they can actually hold?
Mm-hmm. I think it starts with assessment, like what's in the sack, first of all. What obligations do you have?
Yeah.
Um, who are you responsible for and to?
Mm,
What's the priority that that you want to have in your life, and who's the priority? Because a lot of times we got everybody else a priority but you. Going back to the big rocks, when I say the first one is
come
yours,
on.
it's you. Because if you're not honest with yourself enough to look in that rucksack and see what exactly is there, take an inventory, and then compare it to the life you actually want,
Yeah.
then you're gonna find where the gaps are. What is taking up all the capacity?
Mm,
Is it for you? Is it working for you? Is it serving you? Is it adding to your life? Is it helping you expand your life? And if it's
mm,
not doing any of those things, then you got to reassess what the value of that thing.
mm.
Because we think a lot of things are valuable when they really aren't. And
Yeah.
again, being honest, are we going by what other people say is a value, or are we looking at our own value system and the things that we want to have there? And then once you looked in the rucksack, you've taken the inventory, you've looked at your vision for your life and seen where the gaps are, then you incrementally start to let some things go, let them
Yeah.
fall off. Don't sign up for that thing again over that responsibility. Don't go to that event that you have been spearheading forever. Don't allow yourself to be pulled into these situations or circumstances that don't add
Mm,
energy to your life. Because if it's not adding energy and it's not expanding you, then how are you going to have more capacity?
yeah.
There's some ways you only have so much room. Once the rucksack is full, and even when you start to release some of the things, you still got to you have to go back again and say, okay, now what exactly can I let go now?
Mm,
Because your roles in life start to change, other people's roles start to change too, and then the responsibilities, the children, they grow up, They
Yeah.
kind of changes a little bit. You can kind of offload and delegate some things to them. There are some things that start to change, and you have to be willing to change with it or ahead of it, so
Yeah.
you can let some things go. It's just
Yeah.
letting go.
Yeah. You know, I I love the question, what can I let go now?
Mhm,
Um, because I think right now, especially where we are in a huge technological shift,
mhm,
and we're seeing that a lot of people are losing their jobs because of it. And I
mhm,
think there are a couple of reasons. There's the insidious reasons.
mhm,
Um, but then there are also the reasons where because some of us were taught to hold on so
mhm,
tightly to things
mhm.
and prove our worth in credentials and
Yes.
in degrees and
Mhm,
in positions. The position becomes the worth as opposed to, well, what can I let go and what can I shift and what can I learn to do differently while I am in the position?
mhm,
And it's why so many people can start a thing, but they won't get help. They won't delegate. They won't use the AI,
mhm,
right? Like I think right now AI is kind of the in the forefront of that conversation where it's like,
mhm,
well, if it can do it, like why am I going to let it do my job?
mhm,
When the reality is you have the technical knowledge
mhm.
and it can expand you.
Right.
So it's like even right in that moment, the let go isn't really letting go of the technical knowledge or like your speciality in the
Mhm,
expertise. Um, but letting go of this idea that, again, like you have to be the one to physically do it.
mhm,
Where
mhm.
you're doing is what earns you the safety as opposed to the it getting done
Right.
earning you the safety.
Mhm.
Um, Man, this is just such a roundabout conversation, isn't it?
Mhm. Yes.
Because it's like if you're never taught that safety is just available to you, not because of your performance.
Mhm.
And when I say performance, I don't mean like you doing something, but like you being a mask
Mm.
or like a doer of
Mhm.
things. Like the doing is what gets you the value and not necessarily the results. But it's really the results
Right.
that are the value, not the doing. That is such a value shift.
It is. And I think we have been so conditioned and programmed to believe that the doing is where the value is, like you just said,
Yeah,
versus the knowledge base that you have, the experience that you have, um, and being able to articulate that. And I think that's where another issue is a lot of times you cannot articulate your value
mhm,
because it has been overshadowed by the doing
yeah,
versus the being and the owning your expertise, your education, all the things that people pay you more money for, basically.
yeah, yeah. And I find it so often with clients. Like they come in and they're like, "Well, I don't do anything special."
Mhm.
Because they've been so used to being absorbed into whatever machine they've been in
Right.
that they have been useful, of course,
Mhm.
certainly useful, but not attributed.
Mhm.
So when now I'm saying like, great, let's actually package this into like a framework or something that we can say is absolutely yours.
Mhm.
It's almost like they're surprised to see that they are like a very real knowledge center.
Yes,
And there
absolutely.
are so many opportunities like in them that can be monetized and systematized outside of them. They're so used to
Mhm.
doing the doing.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Implementer versus the brain behind the operations.
Yeah.
And again, because we have been conditioned and programmed to believe that labor is our only value, we continue to sit in that space and are afraid because we, of course, we're never taught entrepreneurship, we're never taught business practices, or how to lead ourselves. We've been taught how to be led, but
Mm,
not how to to lead yourself
yeah,
through and to the space that you want. Because everybody dreams about being a millionaire, but nobody tells you how to be a millionaire. Nobody
yeah,
tells you that it goes beyond being an entertainer or an athlete or what other thing that's prominent in the public eye, when
yeah,
it's literally your brain.
yeah,
In your brain is $1 million idea that someone needs. But it's
yeah,
like, how do you extract it, articulate it, and even almost narrow it down
yeah,
so that and to the place where the market is screaming for it. It's like
yeah,
literally needing it. And people, again, you going back to people complaining about AI or their jobs being eliminated because of AI, it's those labor jobs that are
yeah,
being eliminated. The office worker, doing that basic task, whether filling out forms or doing the other just delegated tasks that a manager gives them versus being what they're going from being employed to being a consultant. That
mm,
gap is so wide for so many people because they don't see themselves as solving problems, as being a solution, as bringing ideas and bringing vision to a company that needs that.
yeah, yeah,
So they're always looking for a job, but they're not looking for purpose or work that comes from their essence.
yeah, yeah. And it's so incredible when a founder creates a job for themselves.
Mhm.
Like it happens so easily because you are used to being the technician. You're used to
Right.
being the person who's like moving and shaking, and implementing versus the person who has a clear enough vision. I actually had this conversation with a client this morning
Mhm.
because we were looking at the social media and she was like, I don't think this is looking like what it should look like up next. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Mhm.
Like, it definitely looks like what we were doing for the audience for kind of a very specific thing
Mhm.
in the moment. Um, but the job now is not to take on doing the social media.
Mhm.
The job is now to clarify the vision
Right.
so that delegating it moving forward, you can say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and give it to
Mhm.
somebody else to be the implementer. And they can figure out their own way to have vision in it too, which is great for them. But
Mhm.
you as the founder right now, like your job is not to be the person who is like deeply hands-on in
Right.
the thing, but to own the vision so clearly
Mhm.
that it is almost hard to mess it up.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't write the vision nearly enough
Right.
because we're so busy doing the busy work. Like we can't even
Mhm.
see it. It's hard because our systems, again, the pebbles are stuck with me right now. Because like I've seen that visual and I'm like, yeah, you really do get caught in the minutia.
Mhm.
And then there's no way to cast vision to even determine where those things need to go. Like that was what I had to say to my son this morning about money. I'm like, you don't ask where it went, you tell it where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
So yeah, it is. I just I love that. It is a deep rejection of hustle culture, of constantly moving and shaking to feel
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
And it is kind of uncomfortable to make that shift because of how we're trained to say, particularly women are working, they're building, they're taking care of families, and like they're just kind of always on the go and
Mhm.
allowing other people to rest.
Yes.
Like the narrative of being a woman is my existence makes space for someone else to rest.
Right. Or easier for someone else to exist. So
Yeah,
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 absolutely. And like you said, the we get in the minutia and the busyness of life because we have all these different roles and hats that we are juggling. And
Yeah.
so it's very easy to feel that's the norm. And
Yeah.
that is where the accomplishment is because, okay, I prepared, I fixed the meal, I got the kids to school, I got the call made, I set the appointment, I got my husband, his little dental appointment and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
you've done all these different things in the busyness and the minutia of life that in your business you continue that pattern so that you're not thinking about the main thing being the main thing.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
it gets lost in the minutia because it's so easy to just add something else to the list that's small, that's easy to do, easy to fix, or whatever, that the big revenue generating things, the main things, get sidelined. And then when it's time to look at that, we don't have the energy for it.
Mm.
And then we get kind of stagnant or
Yeah.
stuck, or
Yeah.
we just go back to a job because the thing is already decided for us what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. It's easier to move with someone else's vision because it's just tasking in a
Mm-hmm.
way. Like you
Mm-hmm.
kind of build it out for them as opposed to sitting in the discomfort of having to fill your own space.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes. So much there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you put, and again, you awareness,
Yeah.
awareness and processing it, and then releasing it in a way to where the minutia doesn't take center stage, but the
Yeah.
main thing takes center stage because you shifted and changed and you're very intentional about what that looks like and why you want that to be, and being okay with, okay, the plan is changing. I'm going to recalibrate and rework the plan a bit because I recognize that I've been allowing all the little things to take precedence
Mhm.
versus the bigger things. And so I got to start moving my days around. And I'm starting to label my days, like Monday's a CEO Monday, and Tuesday is content, Tuesday, wellness Wednesday, or whatever I decided to be.
Yeah.
Um, so that way, even putting things in buckets like that gives you some room to work both on the main things and the minutia that kind of keeps the wheels turning, throughout
Yeah.
the day and throughout your business.
I love that. I love that. It makes me think about how I feel like right now when people are launching business, they're thinking about scalable businesses before they're
Yeah.
thinking about growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um and not to say that scalable businesses are minutia, right?
Mhm,
So like
mhm.
hear me out as I'm saying this. I think people are thinking like, how do I sell this small thing a million times?
Uh-huh.
As opposed to how do I sell this one thing like for $1 million,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And I think there is some there is fear in the stillness
Yes.
of having to figure out that big thing
Mhm.
and face the potential of rejection
Right.
while you're trying to like get connection with the right person and maybe not meet the right people and kind of having to adjust and shift, but like that one big thing, that one big vision will actually change everything in the long run and make it
Mhm.
possible and more valuable to scale
Mhm.
or do those minute things later on because now you
Right.
have the big proof.
Mhm.
Because like what are you scaling if you don't have the big proof?
Right.
Like it's interesting to kind of even think about that this conversation in relationship to that because oftentimes when people are coming out of their jobs they're like, hey, well, I want to build this teeny tiny thing, and I'm just like, girl, why? There's
Yeah.
so much bigger than the teeny tiny thing.
Yes.
um but it's hard to see
Mhm.
because they are used to splitting themselves up.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's, I don't know, it's almost, I don't know the right word. It's almost an intentional systemic problem and issue,
Mm,
especially for smaller business owners, for founders, who don't get the support that they need, or the mentorship, or the community around them that can kind of, guide them, kind of show them where the pitfalls are,
Yeah.
and help them to learn what to focus on. And I also say, just like we mentioned earlier about being women, being parents, we have so much to think about
Yeah.
versus a lot of men, bro culture, they have a wife to think for them about the other things. And so
Yeah.
we need wives, apparently, so that they can think about the things that we need to take off our plate and delegate to them. And, I think that's why, I love me an Instacart. I'm like, look, I'm right here at this laptop anyway. I'm going to order these groceries and have it delivered to my house.
Oh yeah.
I love, having delegating that way. I love having my AI assistant to do things
Yeah.
for me. And I think once we have to be almost like innovative and learn how to add these life, what's the word I want to use? Easing,
Mm,
methodologies and activities and structures so that we aren't doing it all, but
yeah.
we're delegating most of it and we're doing the main things anyway.
I functional peace.
Yes, 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 yes.
I love it. That's how we grow the things. That's how we stop being the only person who's operating our business. We
Mhm,
create codes, we create governance, we create intention and
mhm,
expectation. Um, and we delegate, we release, and we assess.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
That's it.
man, this is a good one.
Mhm. I love this.
It's so fun.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're running out of time. So
Mhm.
as always, where can we find you in these internet streets?
You can find me on Substack at Self Care Oasis or at Samantha Gregory. That's my feed page. You can find me on net. How to say Netflix?
One day.
One day.
Yes.
You can find me on LinkedIn at Samantha Gregory, as well as TikTok at Miss Samantha Gregory and YouTube at Samantha Gregory. Um, My website is selfcarealchemist.com. So you can go there, you can see what programs I have and how I help women, create their softer systems. I'm also very techie, so I I help women with that as well from a strategic standpoint. I don't do the implementation. I help your teams do that for you, but
Mhm.
we do absolutely set up tech systems and workflows, see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And for those who are looking forward to leaving the workplace or retiring early, I'm also helping you make a blissful exit so that you can create the life you love and live in self devotion.
Yes, blissful exit.
Hmm.
I love it.
Yes, yes.
And guys, I'm here on Substack at the Brand Counselor. If you Google the Brand Counselor, you're gonna find me. I am around. So it is amazing to have you guys. Sam, I'm so warmed and like edified
Oh, I
by these
love it.
conversations. They're always like they're so timely. I have notes, like I'm taking
Cool.
notes while we're like chatting, which is amazing. And I think these are important things to talk about because the culture of business is it wasn't built for us in a lot of different ways. And I
Hmm.
think these conversations are what will shift it for the people who want to make an entrance and I'm excited about that. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure as always. I've loved the insights that you share and how you bring it all the words that I'm saying into the succinct thing. I love that. So I think we're a really good team, and I'm thankful that we have our people who are in watching us right now and who just spent some time with us. So thank you all very much too.
Yes, thank you all so much. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.